Okay, so I have cleaned up the data that I downloaded from Data.gov. This is what the original table looked like when I downloaded it. It looked very nice, had great format, very clear to understand, but not very usable data for a pivot table. So I cleaned it up. I took out all of the blank rows, and I divided up or added columns for in-state, out-of-state, academic year, public or private. I left the total columns in, and we're looking at tuition and required fees, room and board. Data for in-state for 2010, 2011 for room and board was not broken down or provided. As you can see, you have the total and tuition and required fees. The total does include tuition, room and board and fees, but there's no breakdown. So instead of leaving the cells blank, I put the standard space holder that was used in the original document. So the T or cross indicates that there's no information required, or no information. We could eventually maybe analyze it based on tuition minus, or the total minus tuition, and have a lump sum. We'll look at that feature later. And then I just went through and did in-state, out-of-state, public, and private for each of the states. Out-of-state and in-state fees are the same for private institutions, so I used the same data for in-state as out-of-state, so we can do a comparison of private to public, both in-state and out-of-state. Okay, we're going to create a basic pivot table with this data, since we have categories and we have rows. So I'm going to go to Insert, Pivot Table. I'm going to select the range, and I want to do start with 3 and not 1, since 3 is the title, or I'm sorry, 1 and 2 are the title and information. I'm going to take it into a new worksheet, and from here I'm going to decide what I want to analyze. Okay, so I think we should look at the state or jurisdiction. So we'll get that in the pivot table. Then I think the total, definitely, but I want to put the total, not this total, tuition, room and board, and we want to move those over to values and not in the rows. And we don't want to count. We want to do a sum. Choose OK. So for each of these. Okay, so I've also chosen to do academic year in private or public. And I think maybe I will move the academic year up to filter, so that I can look at whether I want 2010, 2011, or 2011, 2012 at a time. I'm going to click the select multiple items so that I can either select one of the years and look at each academic year individually, or both of the academic years. Then I'm looking at private and public, so you can take a look at the comparison. Very clearly shows the differences between public and private for most of the states. I'm going to choose to insert a slicer. And I want to insert a slicer for in-state or out-of-state tuition. So I want to take a look at all in-state.